As many of you know, I'm Tamara, and tonight we have a beautiful mother with an amazing story. And I just want to preface tonight by telling you a little bit about the day that I walked across the stage as a National Marketing Director. So I was about 20 weeks pregnant with this one. So it was 2010. And I got to tell you guys, I thought I was the duck's nuts. Like, we hadn't had a national marketing director in Australia for over half a dozen years. You know, I was a young doctor. I was pregnant. I'd come all the way across from Australia. I thought I was the absolute bee's knees when I told my national marketing director story. And, you know, I was a busy doctor and I was working really long hours, but I built a national marketing director business. And so I got, you know, rave reviews from the crowd. And then I got off the stage. And the woman who followed me was a woman by the name of Wendy Vance, who, just like myself, has gone 75 Club. But Wendy homeschooled 6 children. So I got off the stage and I thought it was amazing. And then this incredible woman walked across the stage and told her story around how she built a national marketing director business around homeschooling 6 children. I just thought that was amazing. And never again do I have any excuses for why I may or may not be building this business. So when I was at conference this year at St. Louis conference, I had the absolute pleasure of hearing the story of Calli Curtis and her journey to National Marketing Director. And Calli also homeschools 6 children. So I was very quickly reminded of the fact that none of us have excuses for not doing sensational things in this business. We only have excuses. We don't have reasons. But if somebody of the caliber of Calli can build this business to National Marketing Director, any of us can do this if we just put our mind to it. So I'm not going to gab on any further. I'm just going to open it up to Calli. I do have a few questions that I've put somewhere, but I would love it, Calli, if you could tell us who you are. You know, what is your background? What is your journey and story with your family? And then if you can tell us your journey to National Marketing Director, especially around that enough is enough moment that you had, and what was it that really flicked the switch to, you know, get you to put the skates on and get to work?
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to be on with you guys. It's just such a joy for me. I actually did spend some time in Australia and I love it. So I feel like this is so fun to get to connect with you guys. And I remember, Tamara, when you walked across the stage, because I remember just thinking like, she's so cute and she's pregnant and she's a doctor. And I think I made senior sales coordinator at that conference. Was it in Orlando? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm remembering correctly. And she was the keynote speaker like on Friday night. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. And it really resonated with me because my background was that I went to school for communications, became a personal trainer. And then that's when I heard about Juice Plus. I was pregnant with my second son and some nurses did a free health lecture at the gym where I worked. And I realized that I wasn't eating enough fruits and vegetables. So it made sense to me. But then I took it to my OBGYN and she said she didn't think that I needed it, but if it made me feel good, I could take it. So she knocked my belief down a notch. And so Tamara, when I heard you speaking at conference, I was like, yes, there are OBGYNs, there are physicians who understand that good nutrition makes a difference. So I actually stopped taking Juice Plus. And then we moved and I was pregnant with my third child. And I had a midwife who said she recommended I eat Juice Plus and that I eat double because she saw it makes such a huge difference during pregnancy. So that brought my belief up a notch. So my husband and I have been married for 17 years and we have 6 children. Ranging in age from 15 down to a new 4-year-old. And we've lived several different places in the US and my husband's had several different jobs, but Juice Plus has been part of our story for the last 10 years. So after when I was on that 3rd pregnancy and had that baby, and then I realized that I had sick kids. And I hadn't really embraced Juice Plus and I hadn't really made many nutritional changes. I just loved exercise and thought being outside was going to keep us healthy, but it wasn't. And I felt really desperate as a mom, but I didn't know what was making my kids sick. And I didn't like what the physicians were telling me was normal. I didn't like what the statistics said were normal. You know, when you've got 6 kids and statistically half of them are going to have cancer, that's not okay with me. So I knew I needed to do something, and Juice Plus came back into my life. I met a lady, it seemed so random, at a cake decorating class, and she mentioned Juice Plus, and I was like, yes, I want to do that again. And so I joined her team and started sharing. And it was about that time that my husband decided to go to law school, and he thought that if I would work full-time for the law school, then he could, would help offset the cost. But my dream was always to be a stay-at-home mom. And so when we had these 3 little people and he wanted me to work full-time, I couldn't do it. That thought was devastating to me. So I looked at my Juice Plus business as a way that I could stay home with my kids. Somewhere back in my childhood, my mom worked, and I think I just made this decision that when I was a mom, I wanted to be completely present for my kids, fully present, totally available. I wanted them to always know that they were my world and they were my priority, and stuff didn't matter so much, that I just really wanted to be available as a mom. So even though I loved my Juice Plus business, I was never doing a ton with it because I felt like I was trying to juggle that, being a good mom and sharing Juice Plus. And we were struggling. So I got to stay home with my kids. And so I made senior sales coordinator 6 years ago. I'll just kind of fast forward through a little bit. And I made senior sales, and I was staying home. And so I was doing the things that I wanted. I was homeschooling my kids, and I loved that. But honestly, my life didn't feel like I wanted it to feel. It was really hard. We were struggling financially because after law school comes trying to find a job, and then comes all of the law school debt. And we just were really struggling. So my husband took a second job teaching law classes nights and weekends. So that was great because it gave us some more income, but now we didn't have him around at all. So really everything felt like it was on my shoulders. And I was trying to pinch pennies, and I was trying to sell off our things, and, just trying to share Juice Plus here and there to make things work. And it just felt really hard. We had moved to Richmond, and we moved into this teeny tiny rental house. So there's 8 of us in less than 1,400 square feet. And maybe that's not teeny for some people, but it can feel teeny. And it was just outdated, and it was ugly. And I honestly, I just really didn't want to be here. So our plan was that we would be in this little house, and we would pay off our debt, and we'd find somewhere we wanted to live. And that was going to be really, that was the plan. But 5 years in of being in this rental house, and we're still here, and we haven't paid off hardly anything, and I just had this realization that, it just didn't feel like things were changing no matter how hard we worked. My husband was working really hard. He meticulously manages our finances, but we weren't making any headway, and our kids were growing. So our expenses were growing, and I just felt really hopeless. I had this dusty dream board in my kitchen that I had put together, so hopeful. It had been there for 5 years, and none of the things on that dream board were happening. And honestly, I didn't even look at it anymore because it just made me so sad. I just felt really sad, and I felt really small. And so, just kind of struggling through that. And then I went to conference about 2 years ago, and I was sitting in the back, and I was listening to all of these Europeans who made NMD really fast. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, well, they say you can make NMD in 3 to 5 years, in the US or wherever. And here I had been with the company for 8 years, and I was still a senior sales coordinator. And so again, just feeling really small, like I'm not enough, I can't do this, all of this negative self-talk. And I sat there, and I heard somebody say making NMD was like running from the front of the room to the exit in the back without stopping, not letting anything get in your way, not letting anything slow you down. And I realized that I had been heading toward the exit, but I would get distracted, like, oh, now I'm having another baby. Oh, now I need to do this. And so I was taking breaks in my life, which I love that we can do that with our business, but I wasn't getting to the exit. And we've learned from Dave Ramsey, he talks about paying off your debt. And sometimes, you need a bigger shovel. Like, you can only do so much unless you have more income to deal with your debt. And so, all of those little things I was doing, like pinching pennies and stuff, it was like little teaspoons, and I was trying to help work on the debt. And my husband, his extra job was helping work on the debt, but it wasn't making a difference. And I realized right then that I was the one who could make a difference. My husband is a great attorney. He works for the state of Virginia. He does a great job, but no matter how hard he works, he doesn't get paid anymore. And when he puts in extra time, he doesn't get paid more. And he's working so hard and wearing himself out physically and emotionally. And he's not getting us, we're not getting anywhere. But I had the bigger shovel. I could change my income. If I do more in 1 month with Juice Plus, I get paid more, maybe even the next week, that's incredible. And so I felt like the Holy Spirit was just asking me, what are you waiting for? Like I was always waiting, like maybe there's gonna be a better time and I'm trying to juggle life, but I just heard so clearly, what are you waiting for? And I got home and asked my husband if we could change some things. And he decided that he would take off a semester of teaching. And then that would give me a little bit more time, nights and weekends, that he could help with the kids and I could share Juice Plus. And so in the last 2 years, our team has just, they've locked arms with me, they've grown with me. And so our team just exploded. And I can honestly say today, mostly for me, it was a mental game of needing to believe that I was enough and that things could change, and really changing my mental, the words I was telling myself. But today I can tell you, I've redone my dream board, and there's things on my dream board that are happening, that are coming true. And we just took a family vacation to go to the St. Louis conference, and that was like our first family vacation. And it was because of Juice Plus. And we have paid off 3 debts this year, and that's because of Juice Plus. And my husband is happier, and things in our home are better because of Juice Plus. So my heart is so full of gratitude. And anyway, I don't know what else y'all want me to share, Tamara.
Oh, Calli, that's beautiful. There's a couple of like aha moments for me. I'm sure everybody else has had some aha moments, but like going to conference, that's so key, isn't it? Going to conference is one of the most important things that you can do in this business, just to see the bigger picture and to see other people just like you making it happen.
Well, the thing is, when you're a busy mom, you don't have very many quiet moments to think about things. So when I'm at conference, that's when I can think, when else am I by myself listening to other people and able to process I was with thousands of people, but for me in my head, it was quiet. And so it was clear. And that just doesn't happen. When I'm in my little house, I feel like I have little thinking. And so I needed that bigger picture.
Yeah. And the other thing that really sort of was a bit of an aha for me just then was that shift from, thinking I'm not enough to realizing the gift of what you have, the gift that you can contribute to your own family, but then help others contribute to theirs as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I was telling myself so often, like, this is too hard. I don't have enough time in my day. All of these different things. And to start telling myself things like, I was made for this. I was made to be a mom, and I was made to share Juice Plus. So I was made for this. It's a good thing. And I realized too that, now I can look and I can say, my kids didn't really need me to be available 24/7. It's actually so much healthier for my family that I'm not. And so I had built up in my head something that I thought I needed to be that wasn't really reality. And so, making that adjustment and believing my kids have enough and it's good for my kids. What's good for me is also good for our family. So it's good for my kids in turn, and it's changing that whole mental picture and knowing that was true, but having to tell myself that every day. I'm doing this. It's good for my family. It's good for me. This is what I was meant to do. I'm created for this.
Right. So Calli, when you had that aha moment, when you had that shift, whether it was in a moment or over a period of time, we often talk about, as mummies, doing this business in the nooks and crannies of the day, in the snatches of time around our family. What were the things that you did to enable you to have more time to build? What were the things that you did with your family? Because, I struggle with 2 children and one of them goes to school every day. So you've got them all at home with you. What are the things that you do to make that time available to help you grow?
Mm-hmm. Well, and it changes over time. I look at your schedule and I think, I don't know how she does it, because we all have busy schedules. We all think our schedule is as full as it can be, because it is. But there are things that we can do. So I would say I definitely was doing nooks and crannies of my day. Julie Herbst always talks about using nap time. So when I had little people, and she would just say, like, if you know your plan at the beginning of the day, when the nap time comes, you just go right to your plan. You don't waste any time. And so that worked really good until my kids were growing up and I didn't have such a great nap time anymore. I still had people talking to me. So I just, really, I wasn't even sure I could believe that I could make national marketing director. I just said, well, I can go all in for 3 months and let me see what I can, if I'm going to work this for 3 months and see if it really does work for me. But if things haven't changed in 3 months, then maybe this isn't for me. So you can see I was still struggling with belief. And so for 3 months, since my husband was not working nights, then I had a couple nights where I would make phone calls. So I would leave right after dinner and just go in my bedroom and make phone calls, and then just come back out and tuck people in bed and give them kisses goodnight. I had to get up earlier. I knew if I got up earlier in the morning, I'm the only person in charge of that. My husband's not in charge of when I get up, and honestly, neither are my kids. It was just me needing to make the decision that getting up a little bit earlier to have my plan for the day was going to help me. And then I was convicted by Nicole Fink. She's on Wendy Vance's team, and Wendy Vance and I are in the same little area in Virginia. And Nicole Fink puts a sign on her door that says, like, Mom's Juice Plus time, unless you're bleeding or the house is on fire, do not interrupt. And she would do that for a couple hours every day. And I was like, wow, I don't think I can do that, but I knew I could do something. And so I started to have my older kids rotate and take a couple hours or at least an hour on a certain day. And then they would take the little ones and they would go outside and play, or they would be in charge. And I would try to do that, to have like a block of time, because nooks and crannies are great, but a block of time or even an hour of time is like incredible to me. I can get a lot done and if I have a set amount of time.
I know, I remember when you said on stage how you employed your children. So, you obviously had them invested in the outcome. You didn't need a cleaner because you had 3 or 4.
Yeah. That's that conversation, like, okay, well, here's what we could do. Do you guys want to do this with me? And it's the same thing that we do with our Juice Plus teams. Like, here's what we could do. Do you guys want to? And then when they say yes, then they want to help. And so, of course, I was trying to train my kids anyway to, help me cook dinner and clean the house and do all kinds of things. But I was intentional, like, okay, well, now you are the dinner chef. You are going to make the dinner tonight. And unless you need me, I'm going to be over here doing something else. And my kids have known the whole time, like, I write things on the whiteboard so they know who's going for what goals. When we get new orders or new team members, I'll say, like, hey guys, we just have a new team member. And they'll be like, yay. And so it's like a celebration, and my family's so invested. Like, they would be like, are we there yet, Mom? Do you have enough for NMD yet, Mom? Are we going to make it this month? And they were so excited. And so that spurred me on too. My team wanted me to make it. My family wanted me to make it. My leaders said I could make it. It was just my small thinking that I had to get over.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. So, Calli, what is your daily method? What does your day look like now?
I'm so scared to tell you guys. I don't know that it's great. Getting up, having my quiet time, having my little 15-minute meeting, and getting ready for the day, helping my people get up and get ready. I try to take a walk in the morning. That's when I usually check my Voxer. And then we do school in the morning from about 8:30 or 9 o'clock till noon, and that is uninterrupted school time. So I just put my phone away because I want my kids to know I'm fully present. That's what we're doing then. Check messages and stuff around lunchtime, finish school stuff right after lunch, and then my afternoon is often just really kind of crazy because I'm trying to help people do things and I'm trying to do Juice Plus, and then I have that little chunk of time. Usually that's Juice Plus time in the afternoon. And then I do probably an event every week, or a couple events, like maybe a Zoom call and a live event. Honestly, I don't feel like I do that much, and I get paid incredibly well. It's because I have an awesome team. And so it just doesn't feel like work to me, and it doesn't feel hard. And I would do more if I could, but in my life, this is what works right now. Yeah.
And it sounds to me like you're maximizing the time that you have, and you're listening to your Voxers while you're doing your exercise. Women are fantastic at multitasking, so you're doing that. You're doing it consistently. So it's the consistent timetabling of your day that probably enables you to achieve much more. And so in those sort of moments that you have, are you reaching out to new people? Are you doing social media? Or you're obviously mentioning you're having events, whether they be online or live, all the things that we just talked about on our Starting Strong program. Is that the sort of stuff that you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm trying to learn, because at that conference, when I decided that I needed to do more, I wasn't even on Facebook. So I've only been on Facebook for 2 years. And I was like, okay, if successful people are using Facebook, then I'm going to get on Facebook. And I would say adding that little bit of social media time, I never was on Facebook because I didn't want it to take over my life. And I felt like it was going to be one more thing to manage. And that felt hard to me. But if I can just do it and only be on and say, I'm looking at this particular thing and I'm posting, and that's all I have time to do today, to really be specific about that. And I keep a running list in a notebook of who I'm trying to reach this month. So instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, I have 5,000 people I could call today, no, I'm working on this 25 this month. Right. And so to try to narrow that in. And yeah, I'm meeting new people. I joined a networking group because I figured for things to change, we have to change, and I needed to do some things different. And so I have lots of new people that I'm reaching out to and new team members. So yeah, trying to do that, touch new people, touch my team members, and then invest in my personal growth still, because I feel like that's the biggest part for me right now, is still staying consistent so that I can have the right mindset.
Do you know what I love about that, Calli, is that there's nothing there that we don't know.
Right.
Like, there's no magic story to this. It's just doing those things consistently every day in a very sort of scheduled and regimented and business-like way. So that's great. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate it. What do you think are your success principles? So what are the things that are about you that you think, yeah, that's something that I really, really helped me get to that NMD stage?
I think believing. I think that having the dream that's strong enough to kind of propel you forward. I had seen so many people on stage over 10 years of watching that. I had a picture in my mind of what that would look like. It was hard for me to adjust that because I thought I was going to be pregnant and have lots of little people or a brand new baby with me. Because when I started, I had 3 little ones and we added 3 babies. So I had to adjust that to think about myself walking across with these bigger people. My son's taller than me, but I still had that picture in my mind. And that picture of, telling myself, well, this is what NMDs do. I'm going to make this phone call that's hard because that's what NMDs do. I'm going to schedule this team call because that's what an NMD would do. And I had this expectation in my head of this is what a leader would do. This is what an NMD would do. And I want to act like an NMD. And so those are the things I'm going to do. I don't have any success, like anything that's like, wow, awesome, because I think all of the training and all of the tools are there for us. It's just needing to apply it into our own life so that we can move forward from where we are.
Yeah.
I don't know. Stop making excuses.
I think one of the most valuable things that I think you said then is how important vision actually is. If you don't know why you're doing this, if you can't see, hear, smell, taste, touch what it is that you're looking for, then you find it very difficult to then step up when you really need to step up. So, and I love that this is what leaders do. This is what NMDs do. You're modeling right there. Just like your children model you, you're modeling the leaders. I mean, success leaves clues and you're following them.
And I think you're right about your why needing to be so strong, because it was at that, I was at that place of saying, you know what, my husband's job is not going to help us get out of debt. And I want to move into a bigger house and we're not saving anything. So that's not going to happen. And I want my husband to be available to invest in my kids, and that's not happening. And I just looked at all of these things and I thought the only way for this to change is if I change. The only way for this to change is if I suck it up and do more. And, I kind of was making excuses like, I already do so much. My plate is full and, somebody else needs to do something, but no one else in my family could do something else. And my husband couldn't work harder. It had to be me. And so I just had to be at that place of desperation of, I have to do this for my family or it's not going to happen. And the thought of things staying the same was more painful to me than changing up what I was doing and holding on to my small thinking. I was willing to let go of the small thinking because I didn't want to stay where we were.
Yeah, exactly. So Calli, what advice do you have for other mummies? I mean, well, I've lost my train of thought here, but sort of you're talking about as goes the leader, so goes the team, right? So, to get to NMD, you have to have a certain structure. You have to have other leaders in your business. You had to step up to show them how to step up. But what is it that you teach other mummies, particularly from your experiences, that has really helped propel your business forward?
I think working on the why are we doing this? And then how do we work that into our day? And just being consistent that each of us doesn't have to do a lot because we lock arms together And then we're each doing what we're good at. I have people on my team who are awesome at social media, and I get to learn from them, and, you know, just to work smarter and not harder, to use the things that other people are good at. And we do events together so that, you know, I don't have to keep cleaning my house and hosting all the time. So I have other people who are doing that. So we're sharing kind of the burden of that. It's not really a burden, but I think that I feel like an old mom now, kind of, because this is my youngest, you know, and so I feel like my other moms learn from each other. And because we're connected on Voxer chats, we get to share a lot of what's working, and also giving each other permission. Like, it's okay that your child is on our Zoom call, or it's okay that there's kids in the background while we're talking on the phone, because we're doing this as we do life. Isn't that incredible that we get to do this? I mean, I think it's incredible.
Yeah, you get to do mum care and not daycare. You get to not say goodbye at the front gate of the childcare or the daycare and go off to your job. You get to do it around. So, and you know, that's that gratitude that you talk about.
Mm-hmm. And self-care too. I mean, I feel like this has been coming up a lot with my moms, is that taking care of ourselves is so important. And that was part of my mental needing to say, it's okay for me to go for a walk by myself, or it's okay for me to take a few minutes and drink some water and have some extra juice plus, or it's okay for me even to make my whole shake and just drink it myself instead of sharing it with everybody. Like, there is this piece of needing to take care of ourselves. And that's the message that comes up a lot with my moms. And I think as we take care of ourselves, we plug more into who we are and who we want to be. And then, you know, sharing Juice Plus just naturally flows out of that. It's easier to do when we are more connected with who we are and what matters to us.
And then you attract that likeness to yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Calli, thank you so much for sharing. One final question, and then I'm just going to open it to anybody else who might have any burning questions for you. What is next for Calli Curtis? I know that as an NMD, I got to NMD and then I kind of got stuck, even though we don't use stuck too much. I thought that was it. I thought I was at the top. What is on the agenda for you? What's new on your vision board? What's your big plan now?
Yeah. Well, I'm super excited. My plan is hopefully that my team we're going to make 18 Club by Anaheim, which I have kind of a small club level for making an NMD, but I have super strong, my 12 at NMD were super strong. So we're going to make 18 Club and pay off the next debt, because my goal is that we'll be able to move into our house this summer. So the picture is to make 24 Club within a year. So 18 Club at Anaheim is halfway. And I have several leaders who are working towards senior sales. And so really I'm more focused on their goals than my goals, because I know that the 18 Club in 24 is going to happen as I have these new rising leaders. I'm really excited about my fast track sales coordinators and senior sales coordinators right now.
Oh, that's good. And I love the fact that you're invested in them. You invited them in, you created the vision, and now it's about helping them make it happen. So that's beautiful. Very servant leadership. Mm. Calli, thank you for sharing your story. Does anybody else on the line tonight have any questions at all? There's lots of thanks there to you, Calli. Thanks so much for sharing your story. If no one has any further questions, I'm just going to stop the recording.